darkness. A balance.
It's so much bigger. I only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi to end.
Countless millions of people out there are fans of Star Wars, myself included, and finally a teaser trailer has been released for Episode 8, the next installment in the Star Wars franchise called The Last Jedi. Now, since childhood, I have been a fan of these movies, even the superhero movies, but as you wake up, you really start to see the programming that is taking place, the subliminal messaging, the New World Order propaganda that we are seeing. In fact, right in this poster, you can see the one-eye symbolism right there in our faces, the eye of Horus, the eye of Osiris, of Ra, whatever you want to call it, the same Luciferian symbolism right in our faces. And to many people would just dismiss it as, whatever, that's just, coincidence, or that's just their artwork or design or whatever. But when you start waking up to what is truly going on in this world, you know what that means. And, this trailer, in my opinion, really shows a major theme of duality. It is something that we have spoken about many times on this channel, this mixing of the dark and light, the black and white, the good and evil, male and female, whatever you want to call it. They constantly want to blend these things together, and I believe it is a major Luciferian doctrine and possibly one of the tenets or major tenets of the occult, I would say. And I got into a great conversation about this with a fellow brother in Yeshua. His name is Brother Scott, and he's on the In Plain Sight Facebook page, but he has his own YouTube channel as well called Jagger Rai. I would encourage you to check out his channel, as he has got great insights to offer, so please do check him out. But we had a great conversation again about Star Wars Episode 7, and he offered me a lot of great information that I'm going to present in this video, and some information that I found out myself. But basically, it's centered around a character named Rey, whom you saw in the previous Episode 7. So having taken her first steps into a larger world, Rey continues her epic journey with Finn, Poe, and Luke Skywalker in the next chapter of the saga. So there is a lot going on here. I believe that Rey could possibly represent Mystery Babylon, the same female heroine figure that we constantly see in so many movies even like Hunger Games, like Divergent, or this mother goddess, Mystery Babylon type figure that we are seeing a lot in movies. I wouldn't be surprised if Rey is going to be representative of that. Of course, time will tell. But I found an article here talking about Mark Hamill and possibly turning to the dark side. I found that very interesting, as he did an interview on ABC, and it was talking about how they believe that our champion of light here, Luke Skywalker, may be drinking from the Sith Lord punch bowl. So in an interview with ABC, Mark Hamill, who plays, of course, the beloved Luke Skywalker in the series, had this to say: "There's a difference between teaser and a trailer. A teaser is supposed to show you dynamic images that heighten your awareness and make you want to see the trailer, but avoid all story points if at all possible. But I think that's the only story point that's in the teaser, which is Luke saying it's time for the Jedi to end. It was as shocking to me to read what Rian Johnson, the director, had written, as I'm sure it will be for the audience." So at this point, I'm sure the interviewer put his hand on his chin and with a grim look asked if he could indeed turn to the dark side. So Hamill responded, "It's possible. Anything is possible." So this all comes from the one line he uttered in the teaser trailer: "It's time for the Jedi to end." So could the big bad villain of this new trilogy be Luke himself? Luke has his father's blood, and there can only be two. So it is possible Kylo and Luke could become the next two Sith Lords. I get it, that's the Sith were eliminated. Ghost forms of fallen Jedi are typically of good nature, but anything is possible now. Hamill said so himself. So, very, very interesting that Mark Hamill is now saying anything is possible, that Luke Skywalker may turn to the dark side. Again, the champion of light is possibly going over to the dark. So again, major duality. You saw that in the trailer, he said that himself, that the Jedi has to end. So something, I believe, is really brewing with these movies, that they've been such a champion of the light, and now something seems to be changing. And this article I got from brother Scott Jagarai on YouTube, a very interesting article that also talks about the novelization of The Force Awakens is one of the few mentions of the wills in any canonical Star Wars content. Apart from a few mentions here and there, they remain mysterious. But what information does this quote provide for the future sequel trilogy? Let's take a look. So here is this interesting quote. First comes the day, and then comes the night. After the darkness shines through the light. The difference, they say, is only made right by the resolving of gray through refined Jedi sight. So that's quite interesting. Refined Jedi sight. So what could this refer to? Okay, so let's see what this is talking about. Refined means free of impurities or unwanted elements. Okay, so with the first definition, we have a Jedi that has no trace of the dark side. That is, if the word refined modifies Jedi. It might, however, modify sight and both refined. And Jedi are meant to be adjectives to describe the sight. So, for example, a Jedi that has a touch of the dark side may still have a moment of clarity of refined light side vision. So again, I'll leave these articles for you to check out for yourself. But again, I believe major duality being shown here, the mixing of the dark and the light. This is, again, a major tenet in the Illuminati, in the New World Order, Luciferian, occultic religions, the mixing of the dark side and the light side. And this is something that even Snoke had made mention of in the previous installment in episode 7. We see him even as a giant. He even got a head wound here. But Supreme Leader Snoke makes the same kind of comment when he says that, from this article here, Wikipedia, there has been an awakening. Have you felt it? You remember that even in the trailer of episode 7. This is when Snoke is talking to Kylo Ren. And we know that Snoke is a Force-sensitive male humanoid alien who served as the supreme leader of the First Order approximately 30 years after the Battle of Endor. But he is quoted here as saying, "It is where you are from, what you are made of, the dark side and the light. The finest sculptor cannot fashion a masterpiece from poor materials. He must have something pure, something strong, something unbreakable with which to work." So again, I believe they are portraying this darkness and the light. They're trying to say that, you need to bring the dark and the light together to have something pure. They're also, I believe, trying to say that the light also has corruption, so we really need to bring them together because you can, basically get wisdom from both sides. So really, I believe, again, major duality, major blending of darkness and light, which is, again, a major tenet in the mystery occultic religions. And same goes with this whole left-hand, right-hand path. According to the left-hand path, is equated with malicious black magic, and the right-hand path with benevolent white magic. So one is good, one is bad, but basically they're, the left hand, the right hand, they both come from the same body. Of course, same we see with the whole Baphomet thing. And, when we look at even an article from the Gnostic Warrior, he talks about this black versus the white magic. So he goes on to say down here that there is a big difference between white magic and black magic, and allegory and a lie, but the Church of Satan disagrees with this fact. The Church of Satan founder Anton LaVey had written about black and white magic, claiming that magic is magic. White magic is supposedly utilized only for good or unselfish purposes, and black magic, we are told, is used only for selfish or evil reasons. Satanism draws no such dividing line. Magic is magic, but it is used to help or hinder. The Satanist, being the magician, should have the ability to decide what is just and then apply the powers of magic to attain his goals. Satanism is not a white, light religion. It is a religion of the flesh, the mundane, the carnal, all of which are ruled by Satan, the personification of the left-hand path. So even though we are seeing that Satanism is basically, or Satan is the personification of the left-hand path, we're seeing that the Church of Satan really sees no dividing line, black or white. It's all the same. They pretty much blend them all together. So again, I will leave these articles for you to look at for yourself, but really we are seeing a major blending of the black and white, the darkness and the light. Same thing we see with the yin and the yang, the positive and the negative, the male and the female, the day and the night, or the light and the darkness, the moon and the sun, the hot and the cold. Really major black and white duality, which we have spoken about so many times on this channel. The same kind of theme that is shown over and over and over again in so much of these movies and TV shows, and I believe Star Wars is really depicting the same thing. And of course, to me, this is the same spirit of Baphomet, or basically Satan himself. We see right in the depiction of Baphomet the light and the darkness, the animal and the human, as above, so below. Okay, the male and the female, the earth and the air, all this kind of stuff. We see the same duality, the blending of the darkness with the light, the male and the female. All this kind of thing, I believe, is being shown in these movies. And this particular Star Wars movie is no exception. I believe it is major duality being promoted, because that is the doctrine, or one of the main doctrines of Lucifer. Right from Isaiah chapter 5, which we have spoken of many times, from verse 20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who change darkness into light and light into darkness, who change bitter into sweet and sweet into bitter. Clearly we can see that changing light into darkness and darkness into light, or morphing them, this is all Luciferian doctrine. If we go to another passage in the Bible, from 1 John chapter 1, we see right from verse 5, and this is the message which we have heard from him and proclaimed to you. God is light, or Adonai, Abba Yahweh is light, and there is no darkness in him, none. Okay, but the devil wants to morph the darkness with the light. He wants to tell you that there is possibly corruption in the light as well, and corruption in the darkness, and we need to bring them together in order to make something pure. But that is just not the case. That is completely contrary to what the word of Yahweh says, that God, Adonai, is pure light. Okay, there is no darkness in him at all. Abba Yahweh does not need any darkness to make him more pure. He already is pure. There is no purifying Abba Yahweh at all. We do not need to purify him. He does not need to get any more pure, because he is the source of all pureness, of all light, and he is clearly showing us in his word that there is no such thing as bringing the darkness and the light together. Okay, so do not be fooled. But Star Wars really promotes this theme of duality, and you'll remember even in the older movies, we saw Luke Skywalker, as he was starting out, he would wear this very light colored, almost beige or white kind of outfit, but as he became a Jedi, he would start wearing black. He wore black a lot, so he went really from the light over to the dark. Now, even though he was fighting for the good, a champion of the light, as we spoke about before, for whatever reason, he would dress, he used to be wearing white, but of course, then he wears the dark. So again, showing the same duality here. I also find it interesting, his name, Luke Skywalker, just like his father, Anakin Skywalker. This last name of Skywalker, I believe, is a direct reference to Lucifer, because Ephesians 2 says, right in verse 2, that he is the prince of the power of the air, the sky. As the CJB puts it, ruler of the powers of the air. That is Lucifer, Satan, the dragon. He is the power of the air. He is ruling up there. He is in the second heaven, just as we have spoken about many times. If you believe in the true biblical cosmology of our world, we are under a dome firmament, and above that are the waters above, and I believe where the realm of the dragon, the realm of the fallen angels, and the kingdom of Lucifer, even as we spoke about in the last video on Thor Ragnarok, that Asgard is basically a depiction of the second heaven and Lucifer's kingdom. So he is the prince of the power of the air. And Skywalker, go figure, basically portrays that same theme. Skywalker, which to me, in my opinion, would be representing Satan and his fallen angels being up there. Okay, and I really believe that this is trying to tell us that Lucifer has been misunderstood. You know, even that TV show that came out last year called Lucifer, he's being portrayed as a good guy. He's helping the police. He's using his powers supposedly for good. So I believe that even as we spoke about, or as I was having that conversation with Brother Scott, I want to thank him for some of this information that he led me to. But really, I believe they're trying to show us that Lucifer is possibly a good guy, that we need to get to know him more, that possibly we have misunderstood him, and we need to allow him to just show us how good he really is. So really, I believe we are being majorly deceived. You know, that's just the way, or exactly the way the devil works, and he loves to portray the lie and makes himself look to be the good guy. And of course, he wants to make Abba Yahweh the bad guy. All right, so keep that in mind here as we keep going. There is another thing that Brother Scott mentioned about, and it is these holocrons. Now, go figure, it's in a pyramidal form. Now, the holocron is something that holds the knowledge of the Jedi. So if you're a good Jedi, you have a cubic kind of holocron. And if you're a bad one, you have a pyramidal looking kind of holocron. So really, you know, the cube, the pyramid, it's all the same occultic kind of stuff that we are seeing constantly, you know, in these different kinds of productions. So here you go, there's two of them together. You've got the cube holocron, which holds the knowledge of the good Jedi, the ones of the light, and then you've got the pyramidal one that holds the knowledge of the Sith, or the dark Jedi, or the dark ones. Okay, so really, here we go. There's an article that talks about this again from Wikipedia. It says that holocrons were image storage datacron devices used by both the Jedi Order and the Sith that contain ancient lessons or valuable information in holographic form. So Jedi holocrons were also called Jedi datacrons. They appear as palm-sized glowing polyhedrons of crystalline material and hardware, and can only be activated and used through the power of the Force. Okay, so these kind of things, these devices hold secret knowledge, or basically I would say forbidden knowledge, that the Jedi and the Sith use together. And you will see in a video clip that I will show at the end of this video that, again, Brother Scott informed me of, there is a cartoon series called Star Wars Rebels, and they actually morph the two, the cube and the pyramid, the knowledge of the Jedi, the light, and the knowledge of the Sith, the dark side, and they morph it together, and something blazingly white, or this gray holocron, which is shining with light, which to me is a representation of the light of Lucifer. When you mix the good with the evil, the darkness with the light, he is really showing this same theme yet again in that cartoon now, of mixing the darkness with the light. And I believe that is also possibly a reference to the Mystery Babylon theme of morphing all of the religions together, of coexisting. I believe this is even what Pope Francis and basically the elites and these television shows and movies, the same theme of coming together, of forgetting all of our differences, of basically morphing into one. I believe this is pointing to the final one world religion that is coming down the pipe very soon. In fact, it's already in place, and it's just, you know, really spreading throughout the entire earth. But this one world religion is coming, which will center in the worship of the dragon, the worship of the beast, the false prophet. They will propagate this one world religion of all coming together, because it is all about Mystery Babylon. Again, this figure of Rey, how she is the one that seemingly will be the last Jedi, or coming together in this this female character, this female heroine. You know, it's kind of interesting how it started off with a lot of male figures, but now it's really, we see this, you know, this theme of feminine, of a feminine heroine. And I'm not saying anything that there's anything wrong per se with having a feminine heroine, but this seems to be the pervading theme in so many movies, where the feminine now is being very much magnified and glorified. And again, I think it's all leading to this Mystery Babylonian one world religion, the culminating of all of the fates, you know, getting rid of our differences and all coming together. A major New World Order theme. And, you know, speaking of New World Order themes, I find it quite fascinating that this particular poster is red, black, and white, the same colors that we have spoken about before. Usually the Star Wars logo is in yellow or gold, as you can see here. Or even in this one here, we see even in the last one, okay, this is showing episode 8, but basically usually it's a gold or yellow kind of color, but this time it is a red color. I find that quite fascinating. The red, black, and white New World Order color theme symbolism yet again being shown in our faces. And another thing that we have seen, and that we showed pretty much right at the beginning of this video, is the poster of episode 8. And you'll recall even episode 7, major one-eye symbolism being shown in these different posters. We see good old Finn there with the one-eye symbolism. We see Kylo Ren with the one-eye symbolism. We see all of them here. We see Han Solo with the one-eye symbolism. I mean, it just never ends. We keep seeing with Rey, with Princess Leia. Constantly we are seeing this one-eye symbolism, the eye of Horus, the eye of Osiris, this same kind of thing. And what I find quite fascinating, this really is pointing to the ancient religions, the mystery Babylonian religions. And that's, we were talking about the Jedi. Here's what I found really fascinating: the sacred symbol of the Jed pillar. Okay, now check this out. So hieroglyphics play an important role in understanding ancient Egyptian culture. One of the most commonly found and mysterious hieroglyphic symbols is known as the Jed symbol. With the appearance of a pillar and 3 or more crossbars, there have been several theories as to the meaning of this enigmatic symbol and what it represented to the ancient Egyptians who used it so frequently. So there's the symbol right there. What does that remind you of? And I'll get to that in a minute. The Jed symbol has the appearance of a vertical shaft or pillar. It usually has 4 horizontal bars near the top with a series of vertical lines between each bar. It also had 4 bands around the neck of the shaft, beneath the first of the horizontal bars. Sometimes it is topped with a capital. Okay, so many believe the Jed is a symbol of the god Osiris, specifically his spine. According to Egyptian mythology, Osiris was the god of the afterlife. Of course, we'll remember the story of him dying because of his brother Set, and then basically after he dies, Osiris's wife Isis had been searching for him. She came to learn that his body was contained inside the pillar. She became close with the king and queen, and when they granted her a boon, she requested the pillar. Upon being granted the pillar, she removed Osiris's body and consecrated the pillar. It has since been called the Pillar of the Jed. The sun disk of the god Ra is raised into the sky by an Ankh sign. There you go, right there. So there's the Jed. You've got the symbol of the god Ra and his sun symbol there, and the Jed pillar. So the Ankh sign symbolized life, literally, possibly resurrection, and a Jed pillar signifying the stability and the god Osiris, while adored by Isis, okay, his wife. So basically, according to others, the Jed is a fertility pillar made from or surrounded by reeds or sheaves. Let's get rid of that right there. As Egypt was a treeless land, this may represent the importance of the trees that were imported from Syria. This also ties in with the story of Osiris, where his body was encased within the trunk of a tree. So basically we can see that this Jed symbol is big time symbol of Osiris. And what does that look like to you? In my opinion, it looks like basically the lightsaber, what we see even in many of these Star Wars movies, the way the lightsaber is even depicted, okay, the base of this thing. And I believe that we are being shown here, or possibly where the Jedi has actually come from. It is a symbol of Osiris, having the knowledge or the stability of Osiris is what I believe we are being shown here. We got another Egyptian relic here showing the same staff, I believe, possibly, representing even the lightsaber. They all hold this kind of thing in the Egyptian hieroglyphics and stuff like that. So the Jed symbol is also used in a ceremony called raising the Jed, okay, or raising the Jedi. I find that quite interesting, very, very fascinating. I believe this Jed symbol, to me, seemingly looking like the hilt or the bottom of a lightsaber, the handle, I would say, I guess, of the lightsaber or the Jed, possibly a direct reference to the Jedi and where they come from or what they actually mean. Here we've got an article here. It's actually a quorum, or where are the Jedi and Sith orders based upon from real life. So according to this, it says the Jedi Order, the Force and Jedi values and beliefs are inspired by Asian philosophies and pantheism, which suggests all things in existence are connected this or another way. There was Jedi, most possibly. See the way they talk about Jedi, fictional magicians from ancient Egypt. Okay, so Jed pillars, Egyptian symbols meaning stability. So stability was very important for Egyptians. If the world falls into chaos, it will be destroyed. So stability, periodicity, and order is very important. It's the reason why they were so obsessed with writing. If something is written, painted, sculpted, it will live forever. Well, as long as the text exists. Okay, so we can see it would help to defend the world from chaos and destruction. Again, the same kind of symbol, this Jed pillar, all right, again, basically symbolizing wisdom, or wisdom of Osiris, or his backbone or stability. the same kind of thing. I believe this was depicted in the Economist magazine from 2016, the cover of it. You might recall this cover, but right in the middle, what is there? I believe this was a Jed pillar. You've even got what looks like a little kind of knight on the top here, or some kind of warrior, but I believe again they're trying to show stability in the Luciferian way, this Jed pillar, or the return of the Jedi, or possibly the last Jedi, which could be the false Messiah. And another article that I found even more interesting about this stuff from the Institute for Jedi Realist Studies that was found, it explains this Jed even more in depth here. The Jedi, check that out, Jedi. It's the Jed, but the Jedi, all-seeing eye, the Kemetic third eye of Hero. The word wizard comes from those who held the staff of power, which was called the WSR or Wasar. Osiris was the life force within creation, his backbone, the Jed or Jedi, hence the force of the Jedi Knights of Star Wars. Osiris was called SR or ASR as well as Wasar. The Wasar staffs were electrical conductors of power, hence the wizards were Wasars or Osiris, using WSR wands for their hexagon in Egyptian Hiku. Okay, so the main tenet of the Star Wars universe is completion of the circle, or finding the balance between good and evil. It is a metaphor for knowing whether you are on the wrong side or whether you are becoming destructive. Ironically enough, the idea of completing the circle with ritual and of finding balance in awareness was known in ancient Egypt as raising the Jed. The purpose of the ritual was to preserve order and repel chaos. In order to do this, there first had to be an effort to raise this awareness, or Jed. Those that did this were known as Jedi. Archetypical symbols such as the circle, the spiral, trees, and a pillar or pole were magically and ritually employed to preserve essential order. These symbols have all a connection to the sun and the worship of the sun. Very, very interesting. So we're seeing quite in our faces, this could possibly be sun worship, Luciferian worship, the same kind of thing that all the mystery religions do. Historically, the Jed was raised at a crucial transitional time between cycles, evoking light and stability to dispel darkness and disorder. Such periods were the winter solstices, the failing years of a reigning monarch, or the coronation of a new one. A tower or an obelisk is symbolic of the connection and balance of all things in heaven and in earth, now represents the Jed. We see this symbol all over the world as secret societies have used it as a backdrop for their empires. And we see this constantly. We know Washington, D.C. has the Washington Monument. The Vatican has their phallic rite in St. Peter's Basilica. We see all the big cities, London and major places all over the world, they have their obelisk or this Jed that is put up there. This is what the secret societies are doing, and they know exactly what it means. So August the 12th and 13th was the time that the Osiris mysteries were shared and performed. The word wizard comes from those who held the staff of power, which we spoke of before. Osiris was the life force within creation, his backbone, the Jed. Okay, so we can see that this Jed really represents the power of Osiris, I would say the knowledge of Osiris, or hence the force of the Jedi Knights of Star Wars. So I was shocked when I saw this for myself. Even the Jed, they add this eye. I guess the eye could represent the eye of Lucifer, the eye of Ra, eye of Osiris. The Jed eye, this energy symbol was built into the pyramids, okay, of Thoth and Cheops and Khufu. So really, I believe this Jedi is nothing more than more pagan mystery Babylon, religions of Egypt, which all came from Babylon itself. The Jedi are possibly a representation of Osiris, or basically using the power of Osiris, using the all-seeing eye. We know this symbolism is being shown like crazy in so many movies, and of course this poster for this particular movie, the same kind of thing is being depicted again. The Luciferian all-seeing eye of Horus, eye of Ra, eye of Osiris, eye of Nimrod, whatever you want to call it. This is one of the, or possibly the main symbol that we see constantly, the eye in the pyramid or the capstone coming on top of the pyramid, the arrival of the last Jedi, the final knight, or the false Messiah. So could the Jedi be a representation of the mystery Babylonian elite? the people who are in the know, the people who have the secret knowledge, basically the forbidden knowledge that we are not supposed to have, that was forbidden by Yahweh. But the mystery religions, the people who follow Lucifer, who are living in rebellion, they are the ones that want to have knowledge that comes from Lucifer, knowledge that we are not supposed to have, because they are children of the darkness. Even though they want to blend the darkness with the light, they are children of darkness. And possibly the Jedi represent the mystery religions, represent the people who worship Lucifer, who worship Osiris, who have the secret knowledge of Osiris, who believe they are bringing stability to this world. But they are not, because only Yeshua HaMashiach, he is the one that's going to bring stability. He is the one that is going to rule this world. He is the King of all kings, and he is coming to destroy all these people who think they have the hidden knowledge. He's coming to destroy the devil and his people. And this represents, to me, in my mind, the fact that they're called Jedi Knights. I think it's another reference to the Knights Templar, who we know are part of the Freemasons, the Illuminati, the people who run this world. So possibly the Jedi Knights could be a reference yet again to these people who basically run this world. But they are going to be brought down very, very much so. So again, what is Star Wars all about? I believe it is depicting what we see in Revelation 12, something that we spoke of in the previous video on Thor Ragnarok and the war in heaven that is coming, where the dragon and his fallen angels get cast out of heaven and they are thrown down to the earth. And we are being shown that these same people who are in cahoots with them, these Jedi Knights possibly representing the mystery elite people, the Jesuits, the Illuminati, the elites who are running this world, they are all going to have their final kingdom, but it's not going to be for very long. And possibly, it hit me one day that Star Wars could possibly be representing this war of the stars, the heavenly luminaries, the good ones versus the bad ones. The dragon and his fallen heavenly luminaries are going to be cast down to the earth very, very soon, just as what is depicted in Revelation 12. The dragon who rises up, who Michael and his angels, Michael the archangel and his forces rise up against the dragon and his forces. The dragon is overcome and they are kicked down to the earth, and they are going to come and cause havoc and terror here because he is coming in great wrath. So possibly that is what Star Wars is really all about. These ones who have the fallen knowledge, these ones who come with the knowledge of Lucifer, the knowledge of Osiris, the backbone, bring the stability, or fake stability, I would say, to the world. But they are just not. They are going to be cast down to the earth, and the final judgment of this world is going to commence once that happens, I believe. So we are being shown this blatantly in our faces. Do not be fooled. I believe that this movie is again a depiction of the fallen angel knowledge, the knowledge of Lucifer that came right from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the forbidden tree that mankind was told not to eat from. And of course, what did Lucifer say? What did the serpent say to Eve? That if you eat this fruit, you will be as God. You will be like gods. And it says your eyes will be opened. But really, he was talking about this third eye, this forbidden knowledge that Lucifer wanted to implant in all of us. But Abba Yahweh has saved us. He has saved us from the curse. He has sent his son Yeshua to die for us. So do not fall for this. This hidden knowledge or forbidden wisdom is not for us. It is of the devil. He is the one that wants to blend the darkness with the light, just as we showed from the scriptures that God, Abba Yahweh, is pure light. There is no darkness in him whatsoever. Another thing that the Jedis love to say, you saw in episode 3 when Obi-Wan was fighting Anakin, he said that only the Sith deal in absolute. So they hate absolute truth. The devil wants to throw down absolute truth. We know that Yeshua said himself that he is the way, the truth, and the life, that no person comes to the Father except through him. That is an absolute statement. In fact, the Bible, the Word of Yahweh, is full of absolute statements. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not covet, you shall not commit adultery. These are absolute statements. And of course, the devil wants to pervert those things. He wants to say that we can blend the darkness with the light, that there's no such thing as absolute statements, that if you have, even as Pope Francis has said, if you have a direct relationship with Yeshua, then you are dangerous. So these are all doctrines of devils. They want to throw down absolute truth. They want to promote the lie. They want to bring the false knowledge, the mixing of the darkness and the light. They are not of Yahweh, so do not be fooled. Please do not believe me just because of what I am saying. I encourage you to do your own research, because I believe that we are being shown these things like crazy. It is very blatant, but you need to come to your own conclusions and see these things for yourself. Please look into this. Please check into it. And again, I thank you for watching, but as always, please be aware of what is being shown to us in plain sight. Abba Yahweh bless you.
With the release of Star Wars Rebels Season 3 trailer, we have some interesting new information and possible hints in regards to the Sith holocron Ezra acquired in the Season 2 finale. We know from the trailer that Ezra has been using the Sith holocron he obtained with Maul's help at the end of Season 2, and going from what looks to be a noticeable increase in his lightsaber ability from the trailer, he has in all likelihood been able to open the holocron and begin to learn the secrets that lie within. Regardless of Ezra's ability to access the holocron, the question still remains about whose holocron it is and what secrets lie within. We hear Ezra say, what if there are secrets we can learn from it to help destroy the Sith? Which is a very interesting statement, as it makes you wonder what he has learned thus far that would lead him to believe a Sith holocron may contain the secrets he needs to destroy the Sith. We also hear from Kanan, the holocron, I'm afraid it's changing him, and this seems to be the main story arcs of early Season 3. And will this be a possible conflict between Kanan and Ezra over the importance of the holocron and the danger that is associated with using it to gain the knowledge and power they desperately need in their constant struggle against the Sith and the Empire? The part I find most intriguing, however, of Ezra's journey to unlock the secrets of the holocron has to be the fact that it's drawing him towards Maul, and I believe this is where we're going to get our first clue to the identity of who lies within the Sith holocron. We see in the trailer Maul and Ezra combining two holocrons, a Jedi and a Sith holocron. We know Ezra possibly has the ability to access both the Sith and Jedi holocrons, but it is very unlikely that Maul would be able to do the same, so the combination may serve as unlocking a greater mystery and power. It is this combination that has me thinking that both holocrons would belong to someone who walked both the paths of the light and dark side. I know for me personally, it would make sense that Darth Revan would be the character associated with both holocrons. As it stands to reason, he would have had a chance to forge a holocron during his time as both a Jedi and a Sith. His vast knowledge in both the light and the dark side of the Force is something he would have wanted to preserve. That's why I believe thousands of years ago, he left both the Jedi and Sith holocrons behind, so that when they were finally combined together, they would unlock greater secrets and powers to someone who shared a similar view of the Force as himself. Of course, the other possibility to this theory is that it could just be a completely different character that could serve as the introduction possibly of a grey Jedi into Rebels and Star Wars canon. We heard Thrawn say they